Hey there, and welcome back to Cursed Seeds, an educational monster train series where we struggle through the toughest challenges around. I almost completely forgot my intro there. That's pretty impressive. Anyway, we're playing a run that was submitted and obviously by a viewer. And the idea behind this particular run, or what I was told about it rather, is that they thought that this was going to be a blessed run, presumably because of the starting relics or something like that. Maybe a good shop or something. But they had to play it twice and then lost both times. And this could be a great example of don't overshoot your strength, right? I mean, you might see like Apex Imp early on or something, but then you walk into, I don't know, a sweeping boss, but you haven't had a chance to address the risk of sweeping boss yet. And as a result, suddenly you lose and you're like, "Oh my gosh, how did I lose with this crazy strong run?" You often may hear me during normal gameplay talk about stabilizing. This is a thing that happens in both a run and a combat in Monster Train, because stabilizing means you've effectively implemented your strategy, you've achieved it. And in a combat, this can take, in an ideal case, maybe you get online on turn one, which is really fast, by the way. But because of the way combats work, you need to be online by turn three in order to actually do well. Otherwise, you're potentially at big risk because you're leaking waves or the waves are threatening you actively. Divinity, you get a little extra time because the initial first wave is pretty weak, and if you have good pings, the second wave is also pretty weak. But you need to be online by the third wave. That is turn six. If you haven't stabilized by turn six, that's a big problem. Similarly, for a run itself, you can get yourself into bad situations if you're relying on seeing some card or doing something or finding some upgrade that quote unquote stabilizes your run. Basically, it's the piece you need to create a winning line. And if you play a bunch of combats, a good example for me, I'm trying to think of a recent example, but sometimes I need a temple to stabilize. I need to merge two units together because otherwise I've got a unit that's not very useful that I'm just holding on to for an infusion and a unit that is my main line but needs the benefit of the infusion. So I may have to skate by a ring 4 or a ring 5 in order to get to the ring 6 temple and then stabilize my run. This could also happen with infusions on imps and things like that. So you can imagine how this would be tough. I mean, another great example is maybe you see the Transcend imp and you have the Endless, but you don't have the Ember for it, or you don't have the temple to put the Queen Zimpling in it, right? So you can't create the machine gun. So you have to survive combats until you stabilize, and then spike your shards. This can be a challenging concept. I probably honestly should just make a video about this. I don't think I've ever talked about run or combat stabilization before. It's kind of an interesting concept I think I can go on for a while. But it's something that I think people don't play well because sometimes you might be like, oh man, I'm so strong, I can just do whatever I want. And that's not actually true. I actually run into this a lot on the Trainwreck series. You probably can think of some examples where I've gotten myself killed because I have to take shards to get to a higher shard threshold. And I'm not stable yet, and that puts me in a really bad situation. I actually have to restart combats in the Trainwreck series specifically because of this issue, where I grossly overestimate how strong I am or underestimate how difficult a combat is. That might be something playing into effect here. That might be something that caused this submitter to lose. So we'll see. We're going to be playing it's Queen, which is a great champion in general, with Shade Splitter, which is a terrible clan combo. Honestly, I mean, the Shade Splitters, maybe they tank for you, but generally speaking, Umbra is a bad combo. If you feel like you have to use Umbra units here with Shardtail Queen, that's going to suck. It's possible to do this on multiple floors, though. It can be done. The scores on the wins here are not particularly impressive. These indicate that you're taking damage. These indicate that you're not super clean. The 59k is a pretty good score, but it's also very lukewarm. Once you cross 60k is when you know you're like really strong. So this is maybe a clean divinity, but maybe leaked on something else. Maybe took some curse damage on a diligent combat. Who can even say? But yeah, That's a lot of talking. Anyway, what's happening here, what I'm doing in this series, I'm playing viewer-submitted runs. If you're playing Covenant 25 Monster Train, you have a struggle, or you have a blessed run, you can submit it my way. You can do it in a YouTube comment, or you can do it in a Discord. If you want, I have a Discord server for this channel where it's in the top right of my main page if you want to grab it. The idea is then you just channel for it and you can just toss the run in there and I'll get to it. Nice thing about doing that is also you get some conversation from other people who are probably going to be playing your run and trying it out. Usually if things get submitted, people will try it, which is nice. That's how you get things like this. Multiple players who have maybe found the winning line here. And yeah, that's essentially it. We're currently on a 31 win streak. We had a sticky run. It was actually a pretty rough early game with Sentient, pretty typical for Sentient as a champion. It evolved into an Animus of Will specifically, infused into a multi-strike and quick Steel Singer. We had double holdover in Grafts. Mollusk Mage performed admirably there. I want to say it's a pretty bog standard Steel Singer run. You get it strong, you dupe it on ring 8, you rush from there, and you stabilize the run very quickly into the late game. But the challenges is the early game and the mid game, you're only on one Steel Singer. Speaking of stabilization, great example of a run that usually wants to backload its shards. Why you take that 15 at the end, you take everything in ring 8, you take as many shards as you can to jump up after basically skating for as long as you can, focusing on scaling your dude. So... but yeah, I think that's everything I've got for you. It's been 6.5 minutes. I've talked a lot about. I basically got like a kind of pseudo guide at the beginning of this run, so fair enough. But let's go ahead and hop in. So as always, do like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. And let's see what Queen's got for us today. All right, I hope you're all doing well today. I'm doing okay. I've been sleeping really poorly. We're talking maybe 5 hours of sleep a night. I mean, I guess this is pretty typical for me in the olden days, back when I was going to bed at 3 or 4 a.m. But I've been trying to do better about this, and I've just been struggling with sleep lately. It's really awful. So hopefully I am awake enough for this. But yeah, we'll go ahead and hop in. Hope you're all doing well today. I think I already said that, but that's great. Go me, I'm saying it twice. It's true, I do hope you're doing well today. Anyway, we're playing this. It's Exile Hellhorned, Default Umbra. We're facing Plating Seal Daedalus, Spell Shield Fell, and Patient Seraph. I mean, with Umbra, I usually don't feel bad at a Patient. Damage Shield is a very good means to resolve this, and even Imps themselves and Morsels can be utilized to bait him off on a floor. We'll have to see. If I end up doing Queen on her own floor, keeping her alive into Patient can be pretty tricky, but depends on our Imp situation. Our starting cards here are Vent, Antumbra, Assault, and Impressive. Honestly, a pretty decent start. The Vent is a good addition to compensate for the fact that I won't necessarily have Imperialist, but it's also just a good ping. This is a good card to upgrade. Antumbra Assault is itself a ping. I call them both pings because they reach backlines, but they do it in different ways. Antumbra Assault will power us up in the early game. Anything we can kill with this will just be super strong for ring 1 and 2. And I guess Impressive is kind of a blast card. It's not very good. I don't know, it's fine, but it's fine. Alright, let's see. We have Temples on... Interesting, nothing early. Temples are on 4, 5, 6, and 8. There is a backloaded temple there on ring 8, like to see that. It's pretty good. Only 4, so it's mediocre. We have a removal dupe on Magic Side on 8. Definitely want to lean on that if we can. A good Magic Shop on 7 with a Vortex and Caverns. Competes with a Trinket Shop that has money, I suppose. Good Steel Shop on 6. Vortex Caverns as well. I love seeing it. There are some okay steel and magic shops on ring 5, so our choice. No removals in the whole ring though, so that's good to know. Magic shop with removals and a Hellhorned banner on 4, competing with a pretty weak node generation. You get a horde, health, and boons. That's not very strong. I don't love that. Maybe if I'm desperate for health and I really want to gamble on the horde, but we'll see. Early game, we're seeing double steel shops. You can kind of note that that's going to be a thing because 4 has no steel shop, but we don't get hurt by it too much because 5 and 6 have steel shops. 7 doesn't. That's okay. It's kind of a good spread. Back on the early game, though, we have a forced... It's not forced, actually. There's a Hellhorned banner on the steel side and an Umbra banner on the magic side. I mean, I want to go to the Hellhorned banner anyway, so it's fine. There is a secondary Umbra banner on Ring 3 with the Hell Vent if I need it. Okay, fair enough. I think that's all reasonable. Firewall, first Hell Pact. I could honestly see going either way here. Umbra is universally one of the best first Hell Pact users. You have things like Mind Collapse and Prismal Dust in your openers. That can be great. We have the Vent in our open right now, which means I can play this at 0 and do 6. It's really good, right? It's really good. Meanwhile, Pyre Wall in the beginning of the game lets you play very aggressively. It's renewable Pyre health. I do think with the Vent opener, however, I'm going to lean on first Hell Pact, especially with Umbra. You can do some pretty disgusting things with it. So this may be an unpopular choice, but I think the first Hell Pact here is big. And I will take Imperialist because you couldn't pay me to take Rally. So that's a pretty good start. We're going to be a little weak early on, but we can feed morsels to compensate for it. I think we do address backlines quite effectively. So let's take this horde here. Imp Sickle is incredible. That's a great pickup. It beats Hammered Chestplates and Consumed Crown in a big way. Now, this is a lot of Ember that I'm spending. I get a free Imp every turn. That's pretty good. This means I don't even technically need Endless in order to make her good, right? Because she just generates an Imp. So we can super take this money. And we should be very fine here, right? Wow, that's a wild turn 1. It's Imperialist, so let's do Chomper, then Queen. I'm going to take the Antumbra Assault because this will power me up for the late game. We'll play a Train Steward on middle, and I'll vent downstairs. It's fine. Okay, we get a Welder Helper. I do want to put that upstairs. We get the Collector on middle. I'm just going to drop a bunch of Queen Zimplings downstairs, clean that up a little bit. Basically, we're looking to power up our top floor. I can... Interesting. Let's see. I do think I need to... How do I want to approach this? I think I want to blast with the Impressive to kill 1, and then I can play the Train Steward and kill both, and get the Shade Splitters upstairs. I'm not sure why that looked so difficult for me, but I was deciding if I wanted to Impressive or not. We should be fine. Right, you just Queen Zimpling something, and we just send it pretty much. And top floor, we're going to be very strong. Even if I don't have, you know, a Train Steward behind, this will be no problem, I think. Yeah, Welder Helper, sure, that's a great addition. I may as well play the Shade Splitter, I think. Take everything we can, do a little bit of damage, it's fine. We're not doing much in the way of damage upstairs, but we have a lot of HP, is the way I will describe that. So, we're gonna be fine here. You can kind of see it working out in my favor. I can actually yeet another 20. Yeah, it's fine. You actually take 30 here only. This is not a lot of damage. We don't do much, but we have a ton of HP because of just what kind of imps we were seeing. We're going to be taking any imp we can get, pretty much. Welder Helper's fine. Yeah, grab it. Prismal Dust is exceptional. It's kind of the exact card I'm looking for here. I have the payout on the first Hell Pact. That's huge. Okay. So, pretty decent. No offensive scaling is the first thing I'm thinking. No Ritual of Battle, no Fledgling Imp. This will be a struggle. We have the defensive elements we want, though, right? A Welder Helper here will keep Queen alive. I could use its Infusion with Imperialist and an Endless if I see it to get the entire floor safe. We have Prismal Dust here. I think we do want to fish for an Endless if we can. And I want a Hellhorned banner anyway. Multi-Strike in the shop. Consumer of Crowns. Is he playable? That's a great question. Impsicle does some really wild stuff here. Impsicle guarantees that he is 7 cost out of the gate. Now, if I see a second imp, he's 4 cost. Asking for the third imp is risky. Very risky. He's a very good target for multi-strike. This is a very difficult decision. The Steelworker's probably the safe pick, but again, he's a very defensive-oriented guy. I want something I can put this multi-strike in the shop into. Obviously, with Impsicle, I could always just hit a Pyre Chomper, and that represents what? You go, that's 6 Ember immediately. That obviously isn't enough to play him on its own, unless I saw Forever Flame or something like that. It's tough. I would like to go Consumer of Crowns here, but we don't have all the elements to make this playable yet. I do think we'll be able to do it by the end of a combat in the early game. The question becomes, can I clean it up well enough? Can I clean it up? Maybe. What an interesting decision point here. I think I can make Consumer of Crowns work, and if I had Rage, I would be thinking, oh man, I'll just put Multi-Strike and Steelworker. But at this stage of the run, I don't know if I'm seeing Rage, right? We might not see a Fledgling Imp, and I may regret not taking an almost playable Consumer. I think this is enough of a... This is still somewhat of a gamble, but it's early, and I think we're very strong right now. I could make it through the early game. I'd have to play him into Daedalus. Like, there's no question. Queen can't 1v1 Daedalus here, but he would. So I'd have to find a way of getting him, but I think I can reasonably clear low floors with Queen, and then, and all the other stuff in my deck, right? Obviously, all the pings and everything else going on. And then set up for a top floor Consumer, no problem. I honestly think he's good, right? I think he's going to be my pick. I can see this being a very risky run. We're going to take this multi-strike out of the gate. He is incredible. I'm going to reroll the shop here, because if there's an endless, I take the money and go. There's not. But I want the quick. So we're going to do it anyway. Wow, he's strong. What a strong pickup here. Okay. I mean, he's fully upgraded in Ring 2. I want this unit draft. I want something here. I'd like some kind of a compensation, some balancing element to this run. I would take a Steelworker additionally, honestly. No problems. Yeah, so immediately you're going to kind of see what I mean here. I can play 2 imps, but I can't actually make him playable because of Ember problems. If he was 9 Ember, by the way, that would solve a lot of my problems with this champion. But unfortunately, he's not. I can full yeet downstairs, right? You do Queen, you do Welder Helper, you do Fledgling Imp, right? I can then Prismal Dust here and avoid this incoming damage. And we clear this floor, which is the scary floor because the enemy did spawn on it, right? Which is a good point. Strong. Molting Imp is fine. Remember, I need to redraw here. So I think it's important that I do need to clear floors, by the way. So I need to play an imp that is going to do something. I'm going to toss a Shade Splitter, and I'm going to play the Rubble Morsel and a Queen's Impling upstairs for the Collector. Remember, I need to hold on to morsels for a lot of reasons. I need to hold on to imps. I need to hold on to imps on the floor. let's Shade Splitter here, upstairs. I'm going to self-ping that Shade Splitter out to buff downstairs so Queen is not so vulnerable. And now I'm going to play an Imp upstairs. With 3 Imps on the board, I think we can do this. I play Queen's Impling in front. Then I play Queen's Impling in back. And then I toss a Fledgling Imp here. We come close to killing this boss. And we do deal with the backline dude. I mean, okay, I'm gonna impressive this boss into oblivion, I believe. We come close to killing him outright. Yeah? He may hit me at most once unless I mean, I think we actually guarantee to get it upstairs. Yeah, it's hilarious, actually. You just play a trained steward. I mean, this is the exact challenge of this guy, right? He would be playable on next turn, which is too slow. Here, he's got 1 HP, I believe. All right, we take it. So we get through this combat, we get everything. We couldn't play our dude. Yeah, look at this. Look at this. We don't actually see a rage unit, which is extremely concerning. Imp density is going to be important, so take the Welder Helper again. That's good. Perils could be a means of playing him. I'm going to grab it. It's also technically offensive scaling, which I like. What do you mean, Shadow Siege? That is too much. That is too much. I could give him plus 60, plus 50. Make him even more even more difficult to play. 5 space, yeah, sure, of course. And then we just find a tiny stone, right? And the run becomes free. I mean, no. What you actually do here is you take Rail Beater. He is a much safer pick leaning into the Queen front line. I think you need a normal unit. We take Rail Beater here. Horned Warrior would be fine. You could potentially frontline with the Queen, but I think it conflicts a little bit with the idea that we want to play the consumer. So something a little more defensive that maybe protects that floor, I think, will be stronger. We'll take Rail Beater here. There's no universe I take Shadow Siege. Good grief. I want to go left. Maybe see an Endless here. You never know. Quick. I couldn't re-roll for it. Let's take the Horde. Gurg's Goad. Okay. Okay. Now, Gurg's Goad is going to be incredible here. That makes Rail Beater truly a weapon. He's good. And then if I can ever play Consumer, he's going to be incredible. Let's take this middle as well. Abandoned Stave. Okay, that's... I mean, that is, I think, now a playable Consumer, right? Cool. Wow, okay, great news. That's exceptional. There was a Pyrestone housing there, and I could have put a plus 25 in Consumer, which would have been incredible, but it turns out a third multi-strike is just better in general, so I don't have much to say. This is a very strong start. I think we've cobbled together something pretty impressive here. I'm going to put a plus 25 in Rail Beater, just because I think it's a good choice to have a little extra durability here, and I think we walk on this, right? I don't think we can lose to Daedalus from this position. The extra Ember is a big win because a turn 1 Consumer is almost fully playable. Going to do Rail Beater, Queen, Fledgling Imp. You play the Shard and we toss some HP here. I do want to put... I will save my Ember and play these morsels middle. That clears bottom. Okay, we can play 2 Imps here, which makes this playable, right? You play 1 Imp, 2 Imp. It's not playable. No, he's not playable, right? Mathematically, that's not going to work out in my favor. I'm going to ping out some of these things to take this hit so I can keep this Imp in play. And then, yeah, mathematically, I'm 1 Ember shy. That's unfortunate. We're going to save. I'm going to put 5 damage shield down here. I think that's good. Yeah, that'll protect bottom floor. Okay, so I think the real challenge is now going to be how do I ensure that I'm actually able to protect this turn. I wish I had the Pyrochomper a turn before. Let's take the Shade Splitter up top. It will die. We're then going to double Queen Zimpling up here, which protects the Imp and gives us some morsels. Cool. We have the Imps in play. Yeah, let's just feed upstairs. That seems fine. Yeah. The bottom floor should do some good work. I'm always going to have an Imp, which is nice. Toss it. Toss it downstairs. It's good. I could honestly clear this with a... Impressive is pretty strong here, yeah? I think we Impressive that. And then I will Shade Splitter. Take some HP up top. I'm going to blast middle here. This clears the bomb as well, which is very strong. Sure. Good. Okay. I'm just looking to protect my Imp situation here until I can draw my lad. We lose an Imp middle, but I'm okay with it. We have plenty of Imps in play, and I'm holding on to a space here. We should be fine. Toss the Welder Helper downstairs. It's good. That adds a lot. Let's play the Perils here, which adds a bit. And let's play out 2 Imps. Yes. We'll just play out 2 Imps here. I don't want them in my redraws. That should be good. Now, you may be looking at this and going, buddy, I need to hit my guy. Worth noting, the way I played this out, I'm guaranteed to hit my guy. So he pops upstairs, it's fine. Now, obviously on this turn we weren't guaranteed, right? But we get it next turn, and I have enough Ember plus the 2 Imps down that I would have 4 Ember to play him. So no matter what, as long as I have 2 Imps down and the full 5 Ember from Abandoned Stave, he's playable. Now, I'm still probably going to take Ember in this run, and I know that's crazy to say, but I think it's true. I'm going to take this Imp upstairs now. Toss, yeah, get an extra damage shield up there. That's pretty cool. And then, sure, here's some damage. We're actually fine because he takes 42 from here. We would have gotten to a point where I don't actually risk losing regardless. But, all good. Here, have some hits. Bam, bam. All right, good work. Go team. Oof. All right, I'm looking for any way... I mean, a Spike of the Hellhorned is pretty good, honestly. That's Rage and Armor with the first Hell Pact lean. Shroud Spike is not necessarily bad. You could do some stuff with Ember Morsel plus Shroud Spike, but the alignment of this is going to be tricky. I think it's just going to be this other Spike. It is, with X plus 3, it's pretty solid. Now, infusion-wise, I mean, I guess you could use Branded Warriors Infusion. I think the right choice is actually something a little more defensive. Crucible Collector is actually pretty good here. Now, he is hitting 3 times, so that lifesteal gets wasted pretty fast. I don't love that. I do not love that. I want to go left here. Removals. The Hellhorn banner could be good. Steelworker, maybe. I don't love this Collector. If it were Warden, I would take it, by the way. We do enough damage. This guy does 300 damage. You play him... 300 damage quick, by the way. You play him and you're good. So if I clean up my run, draw more Imps on turn 1, we should be in good position. I don't think it's Collector here. He's tough. I'm going to skip him. Branded Warrior is such a nonsense. This Rage 3, even though the unit will be slaying the floor, it's what, like 9 damage? I'd rather just play another Consumer. I'm looking for something defensive. Demon Fiend is a little more attractive, but I don't want to run into the situation of, oh no, 4 space. Hard to... I want to be able to get 2 Imps on that floor. Let's skip it. I think we're going to be focusing a lot on how do I assemble this run and get Consumer playable. Draw is going to be important here. I'm going to take the draw. I'm going to look for removals. I'm going to look for Endless. I'm going to look at this Hellhorn banner. Yeah, for sure. Magic Shop says double stack, -1. Okay. Plus 30 and a purge at the temple. Let's look at the Hellhorned banner here. Yes, Steelworker. Great work. Honestly, exactly what I'm looking for here. Yeah, Steelworker. So now, that's a really good infusion for him. I want to cut to Train Stewards because they're not imps and they're not helpful. Good. I keep the Vengeful Shards because I do want 5 Ember on this run. We're going to take... How do I feel about Imp Parade Pivot here? This is actually good because if I draw him on turn 2, he's always playable because I get the Imp Sickle and the Queen Zimpling out of the Imp Parade. Huh. He should always be playable on turn 2 anyway, but that's really good, right? Plus 1 Ember, so 5 Ember on the floor. He costs 4. I would need to take another Ember to guarantee it. And if I clean my deck up by just removing Shade Splitters and the Train Stewards, I think the density is going to solve itself. I think it's... Imp Parade is too much of a commit, and I don't think it even does what I want that well enough. And I don't think I want to go in on, like, Rage here. We already hit enough. We're going to be okay. Take the Imperialist. Now, I do want this infusion. -1. I want to toss a +10 into one of these vents. Yes. This is not necessary, perhaps. But I want to just power up one of these. Interesting question, actually. If there's a holdover in here somewhere, there is a +30 in that temple, right? Yeah. Would I hold over a vent? Probably, honestly. I mean, a +30 holdover event seems pretty good. I do think the -1s are nice. I'm going to -1 +10 and Antumbra Assault, I suppose. This is just like a fine addition. But I'm going to re-roll first in case that's an expensive holdover. Okay, it is an expensive holdover. Now, I know what you're also thinking. You could hold over Perils, but I don't think that's going to be helpful because... I already do enough damage. I don't need this here. This is just like if I draw this on turn 1, I'm going to be happy about it. We're going to hold over this event. This will help a lot in the mid-game. Speaking of stabilization, this is going to help my run stabilize a lot. Good thing I didn't spend any more money, or else I wouldn't have been able to do that. We're going to +30 that vent now. Great work. That's strong. Now, a Purge here is also pretty strong. Getting rid of this Shade Splitter is very good here, so we're going to do it. Remember, we're trying to cut our cards down. I could also act here. I actually think having 3 units is probably better for this next combat, and then I can refine this further at ring whatever this is, 5. Yeah, I think a 3rd unit is actually a better choice here, and it's better for the shard situation, so let's hold. We hold. I'm looking for money. If this were anything other than conduits, I do have a guaranteed imp on turn 1, but if one of these conduits gets an upgrade, which is pretty likely, by the way, it's going to be pretty tough for me. The vent will help, of course. This is actually pretty good. I can take this Heaven Seal. This is obviously a risk. Yeah, I mean, look at that guy, right? Oh boy, we got him. I'm going to do the Queen Steelworker here. Yes. I'm going to put Steelworker in the back. We're going to toss the Queen's Impling. That does clear the floor because of everything all being said. Let's take the 10 Rage into my Steelworker here. Yes, this will be fine. Okay, how are we looking? We get a welder helper downstairs, which does a lot of work. I should take rail beater middle. He's gonna do great work. I need to stash imps now. So I need imps to be played. Let's save 9 on bottom. We put a magma morsel up top. And I need to stash imps. 1, 2, 3 imps. I can guarantee next turn. We'll be okay. So I can face tank on middle with these imps. And be okay. Now, obviously, I need to play 1 imp upstairs because I've put in a morsel upstairs. But we can... May as well put 2 imps up there. There's actually no reason not to do this. We have the space for it. And then I can Perils downstairs and toss 7 damage shield at Queen. Now, this guy is going to walk on me. He is scary, but we have the play, right? I just toss a Welder Helper downstairs. He is now playable. We have Consumer up top, and we're online. Yes. We are online in a big way. I can vent bottom, which I think clears this floor. Yeah, we got it. Cool. All right, we've stabilized. 300 damage upstairs is going to be good enough. Yeah, great work. Go team. Here is a Welder Helper downstairs. Great. I will ping the Umbra into the... Oh, I have the vent, actually, so it's fine. So what I should do, actually, is pop an imp upstairs. Use this opportunity to do that. Play some morsels middle. Vengeful Shard out. And we have the vent downstairs, which is good. I'm going to still play the Shade Splitter up top because that morsel could be good. And vent downstairs clears the floor. Good. Alright, we're good. I think we've stabilized this particular combat, which is great work. Keep the bottom floor looking decent. Play Shade Splitters when you can. We'll put them into this Rail Beater. And I will hold the vent on this moment. Okay. Cool, cool, cool. I think we're good. So I want to Welder Helper downstairs. Although this Scholar, what are you even bringing back? Oh, Scholar is huge here, actually. I do think the Welder Helper adds more value, but I want to play this Scholar. There you go. Yeah, that's a good card. Let's pop upstairs so I can actually feed morsels to my lad. We'll play the Vengeful Shard. I'll toss him 10 armor and some rage. And then we just vent a whole bunch downstairs. It's good. Cool. We should be fine. I think we're going to one-turn this guy as long as we get 1 melee weakness down. Oh, we actually already one-turn him, so he's fine. We're good. We actually win on middle floor because, of course, we do. Incredible. Well, fair enough. Cool. We didn't actually need our top floor. Mid floor, this man actually just does it with morsels and rail beater stuff. So, good. Rail hammer with a steelworker infusion? Baby, say it ain't so. Let's go. We're going to click on Pyre Chomper. If you ever draw Pyre Chomper and the Consumer together, you win. So that's just a card that's good to take. This is patient. Grovel is actually pretty good here. Renewable. I should take Grovel. I want to avoid adding cards like that, but Grovel's a really good card to add. So I think it's worth it. -1s could be nice. Endless could be nice too. What would I endless? I mean, honestly, at this point, it would be endless. Pyre Chomper, I think. And then we put a Welder Helper in it. I would take an endless. Horde, Pyre Remains, Magic Shop. I mean, the Magic Shop is basically just some -1s, right? There's no removals on this. I'm going to look for the endless. I mean, actually, I don't have the money to look for endless. Right? I don't even get the reroll here. Let's go left. The caverns could overflow, and the money, I think, will help. Another holdover. Wild. We're going to do the Steelworker infusion here. For sure. This is an important one. This needs to go in my Consumer. I am going to eventually dupe this guy and take space. So, you know, that's a run of Monster Train right there. Cool. -2. Another purge. Honestly, I'm willing to go hard on shards because purging Shade Splitters is very powerful for this run. Every removal is huge. -2 on this grovel is pretty sick, but I don't actually think I need it. Let's look at this caverns first before I do anything else. Oh, for the greater good. That's fun. That's fun. But I mean, it's just Sunderstone on, I mean, good grief. Look at this absolute Chad. Wow, he beats so hard. This guy, his turn 1 deals 100 and then 200 and then 200. He deals 500 damage on turn 1. Good grief, it's 500, and then if there's a second one on the floor, it's 600. It's 1100 damage on 2 Steelworker infused consumers with a rail beater. I mean, yes, I'm gonna click it. You play him, he wins a boss. Wild. Am I gonna put holdover on perils? Absolutely not. You could get away with this by hold over the perils and play it on the imp you get out of Impsicle, which is more Ember every turn. It slows down your draw and you're kind of wasting it though, right? I'd almost rather -1/-1 the grovel and then remove a card. I actually think that's stronger, yeah. A train steward. Yeah, I'm gonna -1 grovel down to 0 because this card is important. I will re-roll this. I'm gonna toss. I don't need any other upgrade here. Although I guess I would take a double stack, right? Yeah, sure. Permafrost, it's not a double stack. Okay, well, -1 the grovel down to 0. I'm gonna spend money to remove a card here because this is a great example of a run that just needs my deck to be small enough that I'm seeing imps on turn 1. That's it. That's really it. Cut cards. Do a good job. Save money? Going to the steel shop probably for removals. Yeah, save cash. And then I'm not taking this -2. I don't think we need to, is the important pickup here, or takeaway rather. Yeah. Skipping holdover on perils, a little bold. Armor emblem should be fine. Think so. I think so. Okay, now that's a good turn 1. So we're gonna do Queen eats dirt here, doesn't she? I don't love Queen eating dirt. We do have this rail beater on the floor though, which I'm happy about. He can kind of chill. He doesn't die. No, he takes a lot of damage, but he doesn't die. And then we're going to toss the Welder Helper here, which clears the floor. Here's a Grovel, which saves 25 on him. You play Pyre Chomper, Queen Zimpling middle, and we just feed them morsels. And this should actually auto-play Rail Beater. I mean, my guy next floor. Yeah, he's auto-play now. Although, seriously, though, let's just vaguely look at the Ember thing. We do Pyre Chomper here. We then toss down Transcendent Tia on the bottom floor. Big. You play the Shard. We Shade Splitter a morsel on to the Steel Friend. And then I take 15 damage shield on Rail Beater. And then we vent out middle, and these enemies don't stand a chance. Because this is stabilization. Like, we're clearing floors. We're good. I'm going to blast a guy on middle to feed upstairs. And I think I'm just going to vent this floor. I don't really care about this guy. I guess I can actually vent bottom and just save damage shield, yeah? Sure, seems good to me. Top floor, he's gonna punch the hell out of something. We'll play downstairs. Yeah, top floor is cleared. We're gonna burn the Shade Splitter, of course. I'm gonna load up mid floor with some imps here. I think that's good. And then here's the vent downstairs. Again, I mean, this is Crystal Cloak. I mean, we have 13 damage shield. We're gonna be fine. Ooh, this is a really good one. We're gonna take the Welder Helper upstairs and then ping it out. Play some morsels. Vengeful Shard out. I'm gonna Shade Splitter down below, I think. Yeah. I'll take the Rage and Armor upstairs and we just hold the vent. Because there are units in the back. Yeah, units in the back. Here's a Rage Imp, that's cool. Morsels up top. Vent. Oh, we actually, with enough damage shield, you just win on the bottom floor. Cool. This is actually surprising that that kills the boss, but there's so much durability on this floor that she doesn't stand a chance. So that's kind of neat. Cool. Every card we remove from this run is huge. So let's not take cards if we can avoid them. Yeah, none of those cards stood out to me. I didn't even tell you what they were, but they were all mediocre. I'm looking for removals. We're going left. Yes, I can maybe see an Endless here. We are really in a good position. I cut the last Train Steward. I drop a Shade Splitter. Yes. I drop a Shade Splitter. I'm going to be keeping this Rail Beater in this run, by the way, because it adds a lot of value to protecting Queen. We're going to look at this Caverns after I look at the Steel Shop. Damage shield on this Rail Beater is Chef's Kiss, because this is, like I said, this is to protect Queen. This guy is quite durable into Patient with this. Incredible. I'm going to re-roll this for an Endless, maybe. We don't see it. Multi-strike, good grief. Purge a card, gain a card, beautiful. I'm going to purge Impressive at this point, I think. Yes. Purge Impressive. Random card. I'm going to take the Hellhorned card because it could be Transcendent. Impalate gets progressively stronger with Impsicle. That's pretty good. Let me be clear. That's pretty good. I'm going to take that card. I'm not removing any of these imps. It starts at a casual 120. It only gets stronger from there. That's pretty good. It's also a good Tendon Piercing if I feel like leaning in on that. Spell Chain, huh? Honestly, Spell Chain Prismal Dust. This is pretty solid. Yeah, that's good. Tendon Piercing, huh? Tendon Piercing the Impalate is really strong play. Just kills something. Kills a heavy in the front. Yeah, that's strong. I am happy to lean in on... What am I saying? Shards here. The Trample is never going to be the threat from Patient. The threat is going to be drawing poorly and not being able to play my Consumer. So honestly, just cut another Shade Splitter here. We're just at a stage where I need to clean this run up in a big way. That's pretty good. I have to take space coming up so I don't get a second draw on this run. Keep that in mind. We're going to move on here. I don't think there's anything else on this temple. I'm not going to do an infusion here. Right. Maybe they show me Transcendent and we stabilize in that respect too. I think we easily kill Fel. The big challenge is going to be making sure I'm ready for Divinity and Patient to set up on turn 1. It's a really good, it's a ridiculously good turn. Wow. So over here we do Queen, Rail Beater. I sadly can't benefit from the Scholar here. And I need to play the Scholar. Let's blast the Impalate downstairs. That's good. That clears this floor. We have the good vent. Let's play this Impish Scholar now upstairs on middle. Yeah, he doesn't benefit from it. It's unfortunate. I'm going to toss 4 damage shield and then 2 damage shield. And I'm going to vent here. Okay. That's 1 imp down. I now need another imp. All right, we're good. Golden, in fact. Pyre Chomper can go down bottom. Great work. It makes our friend fully playable. We'll play the Grovel downstairs, which lets me play the Morsel. I honestly should just play an Impling here, play both Implings here, make my guy free. Cool, that's a casual 100 damage. We vent downstairs to save the damage shield. I mean, once you get him plagued, we stabilize, right? I mean, that is the truth of it. So it's fine. Here is Welder Helper for the Yeet. Although I think it is Rage Imp. Yeah, it's going to be the Rage Imp Yeet. Instead, I will Shade Splitter up top into my friend. It's a pretty good idea to toss this Welder Helper down, honestly. And ping him out later. Sure. Sure. Play out the Imp middle. I don't need it. Blast bottom floor here. Should be fine. Whenever she goes upstairs, she's going to have a bad day. Cool. She has a bad day right now. Excellent work. Here's Welder Helper on bottom for the throw. Here's a Fledgling Imp upstairs, which is pretty fun. That's reasonable. I'm going to Perils down below. I'm going to toss the Armor and Rage in the front here. Yeah, we're doing 800 to the boss in this moment. I think we're okay. The Imps are a little bit annoying on the floor. I don't love having them present, but it's fine. I can ping them out, right? Yeah, I can. Is that Tia? I can't actually ping them out. They're too strong. A Tia, you say? My goodness. My kingdom for a Tia. I definitely need space. Let's just be real. We're just going to play the Transcendent, honestly. And then I'm going to play the Perils on it. I'm going to ping out an Imp to toss down a Pyre Chomper. And then we get the Spike upstairs for a big number. Fair enough. Fair enough. I'm feeling pretty good about this. Oh no, you came upstairs. What are you thinking? What were you thinking? We actually kill you on this floor. Incredible. You put an Imp downstairs just to do it, then you vent upstairs and we win on this floor. I mean, yeah, Consumer hits like a truck. That's a pre-relentless fell for funsies. Forever Consumed is nice. Kindle is also quite nice. You can do some real stupid things here. I could actually permafrost into a real big Prismal Dust. I am seeing a steel shop, right? Our magic shops, 2 of them. Alloy is also just silly. 29 armor here is pretty great. Interesting, interesting. I don't think it's Forever Consumed. I have the Impalate. They fill similar roles. I don't want to draw 2 of them in a draw through. I'd have to see a 10 in Piercing anyway. It's a great card, by the way, but Kindle is fun. Kindle is a very fun card. There's a lot of stuff I can do with it. Both of my Spike and the Prismal Dust get value from it. I think I'm going to take this Kindle. I can do some stuff with this. We have to take the space. Don't mess this up. I do need that. I go double removals here, so we go Magic Shop. We cut cards. I mean, again, I'm describing what we're doing because this is what matters. I need to remove the last Shade Splitter here. It's not a bad card. I actually want to remove this Antumbra Assault that's unupgraded. Yes. And I think I also want to cut the unupgraded Vent here. It's not a bad idea to keep this Vent. The Vent's not bad. I'm going to cut the Shade Splitter here. Yeah, okay, fine. Okay, sure. Let's look at the Forge. I want HP on the lady. There is Imparade again. I think I really just want her to have 80 HP, so we're going to take it. I'm going to look at the Caverns real fast. Penitent Remains. You realize that's more Ember? Vengeful Shards? You know, this is a really... wait a second. Is a... Huh. Interesting. I don't normally see this. If I take Ember Stasis, my Vengeful Shards become really good. But most importantly, I can play 1 Calcified Ember here and get an extra Ember generated. 6 Ember means he's playable with 2 Imps. Or I could just take Weathered Cold Stones and completely weaponize my Vengeful Shards into healing. I would remove one, right? You'd cut exactly one so that I'd have even numbers. Because think about it, I have 2 dead weights, which is 1 Ember, 2 Vengeful Shards, which is another Ember. So I'd add 3 here. I don't think Penitent Remains is the play, although would be funny dropping in for, that's what, 7 lights? Which is, what, a plus 14? Is it really plus 14? Really? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7? Wow, yeah, it's a plus 14. It's pretty okay, but it's one time. I'm not replaying my big guys. The deadweights are much worse, I think. Weathered Cold Stones is okay, but I haven't really taken damage. I think the right play is Ember Stasis, because it weaponizes my Vengeful Shards, and I just play 1 Calcified Ember out instead of having to remove it, which is fun. I'm going to take the Ember Stasis. It's very rare I see something like Abandoned Stave and Ember Stasis in the same run. That's kind of shocking. Now, I can and should... Ooh, remove Consume. It's a really good Prismal Dust. Wow. That's a really good Prismal Dust into a lot of things. Wow, that's... At 0 Ember, this is 3 damage shield. And then it also completely utilizes any bonus Ember I can generate. I want to -1 this Impolate. This is a good card to have free. What can I afford? 105, 120 is 225. I can afford everything. Do the Purge here. I'm going to Purge. Remember, I'm just playing a Calcified Ember. Right? Just playing it. We want to leave in every imp because density matters. So I think I just cut this one unupgraded vent. And that's probably the last removal in the run, I think. Yes, I think that's the last removal on the run. Okay, we'll cut that. I'm going to take this Remove Consume into Prismal Dust. I think this is disgusting. And I'm going to take a -1 into Impolate. I think that's great work. Okay, this powers us up into this next floor. I'm going to take this Divine Horde because, remember, Imp Relics exist, and seeing any of them is excellent. That's an Ashes of the Fallen. That is exceptional. Wow, okay. This is fun because I can totally see the early game being a struggle. I can see people making mistakes here. I think this is actually quite instructional because playing a consumer run is by definition very risky, but we had elements that made it pickable, and the truth is, this run probably looks a lot worse if you don't have him, because we didn't see Ritual and we didn't see Fledgling Imp. So you would be doing Holdover Spellchain Perils as your only scaling option. You'd be jamming Gurg's Goad Railbeater infused with Steelworker behind Queen, and you'd be scaling that with like this +30. You'd have some of these same elements, and it would be shaky for a while. I can take spikes. This is fine. I fear no spikes. I do fear Ember Drain. You know, just hit Pyre Chomper on turn 1 is pretty excellent too. I'm gonna Impolate this man. That's very strong. Just hit Pyre Chomper, right, brother? It's fine. The game is easy. Yes, I decided I was gonna play bottom floor there. I had to briefly think about it. Yeah, just get your Steelworker man chilling upstairs. He's going. I do want to play 1 Calcified Ember in this run because I don't need all of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I only need 2 of them. So let me send it. And then I'm just going to toss some damage shield upstairs. There you go. Have a nice one. Perfect. You play Railbeater down below. We will Fledgling Imp the floor. I'm going to Perils there. I will Antumbra Assault. The guy on bottom rather. Look at that. Magma Morsel gets me the Collector. Love that for me. We Kindle for 42. Wow. 42 rage, 46 armor upstairs. I guess I could have vented on middle, but I wanted to kill this guy downstairs. I don't think I needed to, but still, nice. You may as well fledgling imp downstairs. I mean, I'm gonna take a hit here for sure. Here's a pyre chomper, here's a fledgling imp, it's fine. Play the vengeful shard. Good. And remember, I'm leaving in the embers here because they improve my ability to play the consumer. Here's a couple queen zimplings and a vent downstairs. I do lose some ember from this, unfortunately, but it's fine. Here's a welder helper. Shocking. Here's a queen zimpling. Seems good. Here's a queen zimpling middle. Sure, I'm going to vent bottom and save all of that anyway. Cool. Meanwhile, top floor is just cruising. He is going to absolute face beat this floor. I grovel upstairs, of course. This man is disgusting. He is just cruising up there. Now, I kind of want to throw an imp, so we do this by fledgling imp, welder helper, so that the imp gets thrown. Lay out 2 implings middle, and then we just vent the bottom floor. Yeah, it's pretty good. This is a nice way of doing it because it clears a good chunk of everything there. Great. Yes, now I do want to get morsels for my top floor. Yeah, great work. Good job. Remember, my vengeful shards are fully weaponized here, so we're actually just chilling. Take some armor downstairs, play the Prismal Dust up top because it's free, and then we just hold the vent. Honestly, we are super fine. Here's a Pyre Chomper down below. Here's a Perils of Production. We impolate. We do a casual 500 there. I may as well play the 68 damage. We win upstairs. I'm not worried about it. Cool. Finally, we begin seeing the stage of the run where I'm actually thinking, I probably need my guy upstairs to not die. Here's a fledgling imp up top. That's really good. Then we take the Prismal Dust. Real good. We hold off on the other stuff. Doesn't matter. We clean this up. We are good. Yeah. Honestly, these vengeful shards with the ember stasis are pretty huge. Let's just be real. Cool. Anyway, here's 9 damage shield, 26 upstairs. We are in pretty good state, I think, overall for the run. Having 2 consumers is also going to help because 2 consumers means I don't feel as scared if I miss the first one. I actually really think Tiresome Climb is good. On Divinity especially, I can play it middle if I draw it before I get a played consumer, and it can protect mid-floor imps. There's a lot of value in Tiresome Climb here. And I'm seeing a Magic Shop? Yeah, okay, that's like one of the few cards I would take. I already have a Grovel, I don't want another one. We're going left here. Magic Shop and the dupe. Good. Trinket Shop. Winged Technology, though I've removed all of my morsel generation, basically. I get to remove cards, which is tough now. I think I cut the Antumbra Assault and the Perils. Weird. -1 here. I mean, I'm just going to -1 Tiresome Climb, that's for sure. I do want to reroll that Trinket Shop. Yeah, these are not going to be it. Worn Grindstone, the technology is not it. I don't really care about the morsels all that much. They just kind of, any of them that I'm getting is like a whatever thing, honestly. Resonant Shard's pretty good. It's okay. I'm relying exclusively on kind of bad stuff to do it. So let's just keep cutting the stuff. We're really slimming down. It is time to remove this Antumbra Assault. I put a -1 in it, it's fine, but it doesn't really do anything for me here. So let's toss it. And Perils is a good card, but don't think I need this for anything, right? I don't think I need this. This is like, I would rather play an imp because it swings the playability of consumer in a big way. It's not bad to have this, but I don't think that's it. Yeah, we're at a stage of the run where I think cutting cards like Perils is relevant. The dupe here is easy. It's consumer. Another chance to play him on a draw through. Intrinsic tiresome climb is extreme safety. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Yes, that is just it. Spell Chain Kindle if you really want to break the game. I don't know if I need the Spell Chain Kindle here. It seems unnecessary. I want to get -1. I don't really have much to put it in, but I actually have almost nothing to put it in. The Pike of the Hellhorned, I guess. What do I even upgrade here? Permafrost on the Kindle is pretty killer. Actually, with Permafrost, I think that Spell Chain might be worth it. Let's just be real about it. That's pretty huge. This creates one humongo turn, which I love. I think I buy a relic here. Precious Plating, maybe. Resonant Shard is okay, but it's just, did I hit an imp? I guess it kind of does something with Spike of the Hellhorned. It's pretty low impact. I think Precious Plating is the purchase here. I could remove more cards, but we're really at the stage where what in the world do you cut? I want the Grovel, I want the Impalate, I need these Calcified Embers. By the way, I can play these on the Divinity, and I'm going to be fine on my Ember Gen, which is cool, because it decides how much Ember you're getting from Amber Banded Stave at the beginning of the combat. So I can play those out on ring 9 and be fine. What in the world else do I cut? I could drop imps, but that is counterproductive. None of these cards are worth removing. They're all good. I honestly think it is just Fire, Precious Plating. It's just a universal valued thing. Cleansing Water would be okay. Right, that might be fine. Is that going to save me more than 40 health anywhere? I mean, it could do something like clearing spikes. This is what, patient? Not a lot of really... I'm not really worried about anything here. It's armor, it's some like Shadewing dudes, it's fine. Precious Plating seems stronger. Yeah, we're just going to take the 40 health. Just be safe about it. I think that's a good call. I can't really do much else. I could like re-roll this and do a -1. Sure. You know what? Sure. -1 into a Spike of the Hellhorned. Okay. It's at least putting my money to good use. That Stackstone is a funny choice too. You could have done some stuff with that on this Spike, but truly I think that the 40 HP is more valuable. This is a really good run. 180 out of 100. I don't see the value in Infusion because absolutely I would rather have the imps, and we never saw the Endless and we never cared about it. So let's go patient. 180 out of 100. Pretty scary, but we do have the intrinsic on that to tiresome climb, the 11th hour tiresome climb. Tough draw orders, buddy. Tough draw orders. Okay. That is shockingly bad. Both consumers here is tough. We're going to have to lean into how do I not die? Possibly I play them top floor. Interesting. I don't love it, but it's doable. So we're going to do Scholar. I am just going to Guess so. All right, we're just gonna, yeah, full rally here, I think. And I will play the Spike up front. I think getting the armor on this is gonna be valuable. Yeah, we can't play either consumer. Real bad draw, but I can get around this, I think. Okay, we get a Rage Imp upstairs. That'll help a bit. I do think I want to preserve down. I could play my embers. How do I feel about my... Man, if only I had seen one consumer on turn 2, right? If I had not drawn one of them, I would have been fine here. Now, how do I avoid death? I can clear bottom floor if I give up one calcified ember, or I can clear middle floor, which I think is the right choice, in exchange for, you know, some bad here. Let's play the Pyre Chomper. I don't want to farm them on bottom. If I play Pyre Chomper bottom and then double Ember here, I potentially set up a good bait for Patient. Is it worth it? That's a really bad draw order. How do I stabilize from this point? I actually don't think, I might not. Let's sacrifice my +1 Ember here in Divinity. I think this is correct. We blast. Okay. I think this buys me time. Yeah, he has to pick something. So we can now do... Impalate on bottom floor is good. Worth it. This kills this guy. I can now play Queen's Imp. He tramples out this floor. It does not... Oh, but I can avoid it. Right? Check it. Grovel clears it. Now in mid-floor, I play an morsel to tank. I put a morsel up top. I mean, actually, no, I just vent middle. Never mind. We just vent middle. I think he has to downstairs here. Good. Good. Okay, I can actually weaponize my top floor pretty effectively here, yeah? Yeah, I'm gonna play big stuff into upstairs here. I think it's worth it. Good. I vent bottom. We play the Welder Helper out bottom. That only means one guy dies, which is good, which leaves 5 imps down. I play 4 and then 1 damage shield up top, and we vent on the bottom floor. We're okay for the moment. I'm holding my imps together, which is important. They just give me both consumers. Scary. We're playing 1 middle for sure. Yikes. Wasn't expecting to draw into both. We clear mid-floor, right? Yeah, we clear mid-floor if I play everything out. Cool. I want this imp to tank for me. I suppose top floor I tank with the Pyre Chomper. Not exactly how I want that to go. I can't play this guy because I wasn't expecting to draw both on that turn. But bottom floor does get cleared, so it's fine. He just tramples it out. A little concerning, but this guy is taking a ton of damage here. We're gonna Vengeful Shard. He pops. The right choice here is to damage shield the middle dude, because I vent everything out. Yes, I want to get rid of this melee weakness stack. So you damage shield here, as weird as it is, right? You play a bunch of stuff downstairs. I will vent this out for sure. Yeah, so we're just gonna play a whole bunch of stuff down on bottom floor. Great work. 1 imp dies. We vent middle here. He clears the melee weakness imp, and then eats a casual 500. Good. He comes downstairs. Good. I ascend him back up to middle. Great. He takes another casual chunk. I am going to Vengeful Shard the middle. You play the Molting Imp here, which should mean... the spikes is a struggle, isn't it? Yeah, I guess I think I should do Big Kindle here. Big Kindle here, and then play 26 damage shield into this middleman. Good. I then vent middle, I think. And he takes 300, yeah. I think he wins 1v1 on Seraph here. You play Scholar. Ooh, baby, that's a good Kindle draw. Incredible. We'll play that. I'm going to drop the lad on bottom floor. He does good work. You vent. We take the grovel here. Big work. I play the imps out. I think we definitely play big spike on middle because he has 27 damage shield. Yeah. Okay, that's correct. I impalate downstairs and I vent this out. We almost win on bottom. Yeah, okay. What a tough combat, but we do stabilize this in a very impressive way. Yeah, this Impish Scholar is also just disgusting. Here's 28 damage shield. How does that feel? That's pretty cool. I think actually it's just boop. You give him that and then he crunches. It's funny because I think he doesn't even swing on the imps, right? No, he just gets bammoed out. Bam! Love it. Okay, patience down. I gave up 1 ember to do that. I gave up an ember on this combat to achieve that stability because of the draw order. Now, hopefully this goes a little better here. Just don't give me all of them. Okay, one of them is still pretty rough, I'll admit. I think this is a middle angle here. How much armor? He gives himself 48 armor. It's what, 18, 36? I have him for next turn. Okay, so I'm thinking Queen, Railbeater middle. And then I Tiresome Climb middle. I get an imp next turn. I maybe draw one, and then I can get the Steelworker down. But we just drop this Welder Helper bottom floor here. And I think the actual Tiresome Climb play is I ascend the Wiltwings. Right? I think that's true. You could just play the Welder Helper up top, but then I'm giving up an Ember next turn as well. Don't love that. Send this thing. Play the Welder Helper. He lives now. Okay, I'm going to toss this spike into front Railbeater. I want this floor to hold it together as best as it can. Alright, I think we get a guy next turn because I have an imp. Yeah, we super get him here. Cool. Play the Welder Helper middle. Yes. Okay, now, I think you actually play the Queen Zimpling first. Then we toss Consumer upstairs, and I give him armor. Good. Now, I also would like to blast these floors. I can maybe play an Impalade into the Steel Wings and do okay. So let's just Vengeful Shard him in middle, which should clear another guy. I'm going to toss 2 damage shield on the Railbeater here. I think he needs to take less damage. Okay. Now, we're going to be in a situation where playing the second guy is going to be potentially difficult. Right? Playing number 2 is trickier. I want to Vengeful Shard middle here. I want to play the Welder Helper here. I think that is an important throw. Vent downstairs. I gotta watch the imp plays here, right? So I think it is as simple as Queen Zimpling up top. And then we toss some Rage upstairs. Play these imps out. Toss him some Rage. I mean, he does 720 here, which is pretty solid. We're going to clear Spike's guy next turn, which is nice. Take 92 on middle. I don't love that, but He just needs to survive. Okay, I'm going to leave in the Pyre Chomper. It's a really good draw next turn. I do think it is Impelate Angle Middle. 100%. That's big value. I need to Welder Helper Middle. Armor here is big. I'm going to Grovel him as well. I will play Queen's Impling upstairs. These don't matter, right? You may as well put it downstairs. Yeah, play it downstairs. It's fine. Toss out some morsels. Just get them out of there. I'm going to leave in Pyre Chomper. If I can draw him on the same turn as our friend Consumer. If I can get this second Consumer played, we super stabilize. It's also really nice to kill 2 units on middle here. Really good pickup. We get a third now, too. Okay, I mean, I think we're okay. We're not going to leak because I have one guy. Okay, we didn't draw the guy that we wanted. That's unfortunate. I can Vengeful Shard the middle guy down, do some work here, which is cool. I actually think I should Vengeful Shard this mini-boss because he scares me. Let's play a Rage Imp on middle. I think that will be valuable. Well, the Rage upstairs is going to be more useful, honestly. Yeah, play the Queen's Impling middle. Vent bottom. Could vent top and do more damage to the boss here. You know what? Yeah, I think that's right. Pyre Chomper. Unfortunately, not going to get him with the Consumer. He's maybe not playable. I'm not sure. We'll have to see. I think venting upstairs for the extra damage here is good. If I can maybe weaken this boss to a point where it's fine, we stabilize there. What do I get from this? We just hit. Just hit. Pyre Chomper middle, so we can immediately play Steelworker Consumer. Top floor wins. Great job. Excellent. We're going to also... I mean, I could have actually done this much better and played the Kindle first. I think this was my Kindle turn. Honestly, it doesn't matter at this point. We got it. We did the thing. I Tiresome Climb the boss upstairs to save a huge amount. I Impelate middle or top, adds like 300 damage to the boss, and then I play 37 damage shield into Rail Beater, which protects mid-floor. And we toss the other one upstairs. We vent middle here. Good work. Okay, I think we win now. We have done it. We got both guys played. Good job. Truly, good job. Here's a Rage Imp, middle. Great job on that. We come close to just winning if I Vengeful Shard upstairs both times. It's pretty close to winning, honestly. What if I Grovel middle? He actually throws. Good. I will Tiresome Climb upstairs. It's good. And let's vent middle just to open that up, I think. Okay. All right. I'm feeling pretty good about this right now. I can play the Pyre Chomper out. I can play a Molting Imp here. I can blast upstairs. I can toss 9 damage shield down, which I think makes this a winning play. Good job. And then we vent here. We almost win. I think we guarantee win this next floor, right? I think we do. We guarantee win this, yeah? Yeah, we got it. Good job. Go team. You yeet middle. Very strong play. And then I can just clear top floor pretty effectively here. I mean, like, there's a lot of options for me, ways I would stabilize this that matter. You vent downstairs here. If I had to go to Relentless, I think this would be fine. If I had to go to Relentless. I don't, but, like, look at the floors, right? Is what I'm saying. You see, I clear top floor. Assume he had, like, 1,000 more HP, would last a round. We stabilized this floor. Mid floor is cleared, so his Relentless combat is easy, and we took out the curse guys. So our next turn would be completely in our control. Honestly, Consumer of Crowns. This unit is easy to overlook. I consistently rate him as a C-tier unit. And that has not changed despite how long it's been since I've played him, because it doesn't take much for him to be really good, is the thing. And the other really important part here, I think our score crushes, by the way. I think we're way ahead of everyone else. Yeah, 64K. This is a completely dominant run that I have pulled together here. Let's look at the challenge. It's easy to overlook him. Let's look at everyone else first. Let's just be honest with you. What do we got? Yeah, no commitment to the consumer is the first one here. Got it. I'll look in more detail. No commitment on the second one here. Yeah, understandable. Truly understandable. So, looking at this, let's look at this other person first. Similar relic choices early. They saw all the good stuff. Railhammer, Ashes, Resonant Shard. They leaned on the perils. Yeah, I mean, this is exactly what I described, right? This is what I described here. You have this horned warrior nonsense chilling, and you eventually see an endless. You have the sapstone here, so I mean, this floor is gonna crunch, right? It crunches pretty effectively. It's a straightforward win. 32 damage on Hidden Assault. I guess you haven't stabilized at that point, which is fine. You've got the Prismal Dust. You've got other things. You've got big payouts here. This is a good run. This is a good run, I think. There's really not much to say here. I don't think I would have held over your Impressive. I don't actually think this is a good card here. You would, I mean, honestly, look at this. It says 50 damage. You could have just gone Imperialist 3 and thrown an Imp, right? The only reason this might be good is if you don't take space, because then you can play 2 Imps, because you play Imp, kill Imp, play Imp. But you took space anyway, so honestly, what are you doing here, right? Yeah, there's not much else to really say. I don't think you need to do it. I also don't think you ever needed the... I really don't think you ever needed the Imp Parade pick here. I think you took this for the -1 Ember to the floor for the Imps that you would get out of Imp Sickle, right? I think that was the idea. But you saw an early Abandoned Stave. Did you skip that? You didn't even take the calcified embers? That's weird, right? I mean, at a minimum, the embers are free, right? You easily make it through the early game on those, so you basically just get free calcified embers if you wanted to. I can't imagine skipping Abandoned Stave, truly. It is one case, it's one of the few cases where adding curses to your deck is just so good in that particular instance. The trade-off is +2 Ember, and if you really want to remove the curses, you can, and then your run is just at a +1 Ember. So even though there's a cost associated with it, if you cut things, you cut those Vengeful Shards, it's so much value. It's a free Ember Relic, man. That's really good. Seeing that on Ring 3, I would never take Imp Parade here. I think the pivot is not useful. In my particular run, it might have been okay. But the one thing I wanted to call attention to, this run looks like as I described if you did not commit to consumer, right? Let's look at the next one. Another similar example, right? This one actually took the Abandoned Stave, which I think is correct, but they missed the Imp Sickle. I guess this is an interesting one. So Evil didn't feel strong enough into the early game to commit to that extra horde. And truly, I think you were. I mean, the vents with the first Hell Pact and then also the Antumbra Assaults, you have so much control early. I think you could have easily gotten away with it, and Imp Sickle frames you for a lot of future decisions that I think are really good here. Plus, I do think that Hellhorned has a lot of really good relics in general. Any of the Imp relics, Queen's Tail, Gurg's Goad is also a killer one there. Obviously, you see it later anyway, but it could have been there. Any of the Rage relics would have been fine. Imp Sickle, Ashes of the Fallen, the list kind of goes on. Forever Flame would have been disgusting. There's just a lot of really good relics for the kind of strategies you use here. It's a pretty good horde. I think I would have taken it. And obviously then, like, without the Imp Sickle, I don't think you can take consumer. I think that it is an obvious laugh at consumer, move on moment. But you look at the Steelworker, you don't have rage in this run, right? Your rage is perils later on. So you get there eventually, but it's kind of a struggle. I mean, you're doing branded warrior infusion here, right? You didn't feel strong enough, I guess, to take the Heaven Seal, which I don't blame you, honestly. That does seem like you would probably trade a bit there. You hadn't stabilized at that point. And so ultimately you've got kind of a bad infusion that's slow and it's not ideal. You do clean up the rest of the run. Of course, things like Tiresome Climb show up. You kept some cards. You took that Horn Break. Seems okay. Prismal Dust, of course. You take the Spike. I mean, a lot of the rest of the run looks the same, right? Very similar. So I guess no one else saw the Impalate, but I got it from an event, so I guess that doesn't surprise me. I might have been the only one to go that way. I think people were probably hunting the Endless at that point. I didn't even go for Endless, which is great. Let me look at my run now. Actually, I want to look at the person who lost first. The submitter. You lost on Daedalus. And then they said they lost twice again anyway. They actually saw the Endless early? Is that in a re-rolled steel shop that I didn't see, maybe? Interesting. So there's an early one that gets you there. I think I actually went to a magic shop that I could have gone to a steel shop on. So really, it's fine. This is the case of 55 shards, but you're not strong enough to play 55 shards, right? Wait a second. You beat Daedalus, and then you vanished? You didn't lose? So this is actually a loss on ring 4, right? Weird. It's weird that it's showing this, right? Yeah. Weird. Okay, I'm not actually sure. Oh, I think I know what this might be, right? I think if you play ring 4 and then reset the... Well, no, because you would go back to the start of the combat. I was thinking if you broke the run, like if you just ended the run. Interesting. I'm not sure what this means, actually, now that I'm looking at it. But this run looks like it does make it maybe squeeze past Daedalus, but doesn't really stabilize in any meaningful way. What is your run doing here, right? This is pretty much a bless up, hope for rage moment. You don't have the perils online. There are holdovers later, and there is a spell chain, so eventually you can make this Horned Warrior work, but it's pretty tricky. Like, this is, again, a similar idea. I can kind of see how this might have lost, but I think this would have gotten there, potentially. It's hard to say. Nothing about this immediately jumps out at me as being a struggle at this part of the run. Like, you've got a good unit, you've got a good champion, you've got good relics here. You haven't cleaned it up yet, but it's only ring 4, right? You have an Endless. You're not doing any damage, that's for sure. You might play the Horned Warrior in front and just hope for a Shroud Spike of some kind, and that might sail you through the mid-games. But remember, ring 4 was actually tough, for the record. Ring 4 was Pyrolite Master. He claps. So I can understand maybe having struggled there and given up or something. I think this is like you quit out of the run when maybe restarting constantly on ring 4, right? So I think that's actually what happened here. You restart a bunch on ring 4, then you just exit the run instead of actually losing. So it looks like this. Let me look at this run and my run and show you this run is way stronger than everyone else here. And I think that this is a good demonstrator of just playing a card well and right. Consumer is a scary unit. I consistently rate this unit C tier. I mentioned this before. I want to actually explain that in more detail, expand on that, because this unit is a struggle, but this unit is its own offensive quote-unquote scaling. If you hit for 100 damage, you don't, and you have multi-strike, by the way, you don't really need anything to scale him. You just need 2 of them. Or if you get lucky, 3 of them, right? This is a rare instance where this unit, in my opinion, makes a lot of sense. And you had the multi-strike in the shop. I even got him quick right away. He was fully loaded. So this guy is incredible if you can play him. And then obviously you can see me navigate the run to play him this whole time. Every single thing. I even had emergency moments on like ring 8 with Patient where I said, oh no, I drew both of them turn 1. How do I preserve my imps on the floors? And then I burned my calcified embers from Ember Stasis in exchange for that. That, honestly, a fair trade, in my opinion. That is a fair trade to stabilize that combat in a different way. This is also, he's a hard unit to play. He requires you to be adaptable, especially if you draw poorly like I did on Patient. But go and look at that combat and think about that a little bit. The way I navigated that, the way I thought about those turns, I think that that's really instructional, actually. The random rail beater, he exists for a reason. He is important to delay drawing the consumers that early, the extra turn on the mid game 50% of the time is really nice because it means it's a coin flip and you can simplify your combat immensely. And if you miss the coin flip, you still got this rail beater who can defend queen, right? He was durable as hell. Comes with 30 armor, 35 life, and 3 damage shield. This guy has a lot of HP. And he can set up for some kills, right? Because you give her some rage and she can actually hit for like 100. Actually, a really good unit used like this, in my opinion. The rest of this run was spent about just improving density of my imps, basically. Drafting good imps, playing them. This is also, I want to also comment. I was talking to Voyix recently, and he was struggling to find a run where Imperialist Queen was functional with when you miss Endless. What do you not see in my run right now? No Endless. I didn't even look for it. And she was integral to the line, right? She was clearing floor, she was setting up the things. She was basically guaranteeing that I wasn't going to lose. And did I even take damage? Let me look. I took no damage in this entire run. That is wild to me. On a Consumer of Crowns run, no less. Yeah, she was integral to it, especially things like Impsicle with this. I mean, that's basically one of the answers. It's like, I don't know, I don't need Endless. I just play random imps. Things like this vent were helpful too. Very useful. All my cards were good. Genuinely, all of them were great. Really cool, by the way, Abandoned Stave Ember Stasis combo. I almost never get that. That's definitely going on the thumbnail. And then you have this disgusting permafrost spell chain kindle into like crazy prismal dust or crazy spike of the Hellhorned. There was that one combat somewhere where I got a scholar from Impsicle and then was getting like multiples of those back. And I was like, yeah, let me just play both of these cards again. Outrageous. Honestly, this consumer is great. If you can play him, he's good. And he's obviously hard to play, but he hits like a truck. Plus, I think he looks awesome. So there's that as well. Obviously, I'm not weighing the value of the card based on how cool he is, but still, he's pretty cool. Look at that hat. That's a pretty cool hat. He's got, I mean, I guess it's a crown, but it looks kind of like a really sick baseball hat. So that's also pretty neat. Yeah, I think this turned out to be a really instructional, really cool run. So I'm glad to have run it. And I will let you go there. That brings us up to 32 wins on the series. Incredible work. Go team. So yeah, hey, thanks a lot for watching this. I really appreciate your time. As always, you can give the video a like or a dislike if you want. You can subscribe to the channel if you want to see more. And stay tuned for what's next. Take care, folks. Hiya.